It is Men's Mental Health Month, and if you have been straddling the fence and wondering if therapy is a great fit for you right now in your personal journey as a man, I'm here to hop on to just talk about some topics that I commonly see in my practice working with men. So, some of the things that come up during the process of therapy um, with the men that I've worked with is childhood trauma. Yes, men do experience childhood trauma in the areas of neglect and abandonment and betrayal. Childhood trauma is very impactful to men, even if they don't realize that they've been impacted by abuse or neglect or any form of trauma from the ages of birth to 18. So it's really interesting to help men unpack and process some of these hurts because society doesn't really welcome men in their hurt state. And so therapy is a great place to, to be in a neutral environment where your emotions will be cared for and you will be accepted in your deepest, darkest times dealing with trauma. Another thing that I see with another topic that I see with men is in the area of relationships. I have married couples and couples that are not married that are in relationships. And when men show up, they're a little trepidatious. They're a little cautious about couples work because they automatically assume that if there are two women in the room, they're not going to get the best reception. But if you find a really good couples therapist, then you can process a lot of things in couples work. But one of the things that I notice the most with men when it comes to couples work is, not being heard or not feeling that their spouse or their partner really understands what they're saying and how they process things. We need to understand that men do process emotions a little bit differently. They can be more concrete. They can be a little bit more focused on problem solving as opposed to emotional validation, but there's nothing that cannot be taught or cannot be reinforced. So communication is also something that you can work on as a man in therapy. Another thing that's helpful, I think for anybody, but especially for men, is just helping us to just be comfortable with who we are. And again, when we're dealing with men and societal norms, they're a little different. A lot of men I have seen in my office have cried because they feel burdened with the idea that they're not supposed to feel or get angry or get upset or they're supposed to react a certain way when they're stressed out. And of course, this is unrealistic because we all have feelings and we all need to feel. And so when we're dealing in the areas of manhood and development emotionally, I see a lot of men struggle as they get older in their, upper 40s, 50s. Men start to lose their identity a little bit and lose track of who they are outside of their job, outside of being a dad or outside of being a husband. They start to struggle a little bit. So if that is something that you are dealing with, then therapy might be just the thing for you right now in this stage of life. The reality is that older men tend to have the highest rates of suicide, and it's because we are dealing with life transitions and changes. Some men are near retirement and don't really understand what's next for them. They don't know what their next steps are because their whole identity has been wrapped up in being a provider for their family. So bottom line, therapy is great for men. And during Men's Mental Health Month, I hope that there are men out there who understand that their mental health is as important as their female counterparts. And they take the step to do what they need to do to be better men for our community, for our families, and for the world at large. We love you guys. Take care.